I'd just like to thank our panel members. Clearly, securing the future of modern manufacturing is key to re-establishing more robust supply chains, and importantly, manufacturing cannot grow without a skilled workforce. If recent times have shown us anything, it is the speed with which we need to provide these skills that will ensure the flexibility and resilience of the workforce going forward. I'd now like to give each of the panel members the opportunity to provide any closing remarks. And as part of that, perhaps you might want to consider what you see as the highest priority for government or industry to boost manufacturing workforce skills in Australia. Heard a lot of suggestions today, which has been excellent. But if there was one thing that we had to do, what would it be? And if I could ask each member to keep their response to, say, a minute, that would be fantastic.
There's reason to be much more optimistic than not. And I think we all should be optimistic given the time and circumstances we're in and what we've seen occur over the past year. It gives us enormous reason for hope. The one thing I'd say to government, we can't be totally government reliant on this. We have to help ourselves through this in significant ways. But for the government to help find ways to drive that collaboration between industry and the training sector, so that you do get that, an example is that work integrated learning, but to drive that collaboration, either through funding models or incentives and investment. I think that is the key. That is the key area. That will develop the skills base that we need if industry and educators, in the broader sense, work more closely together and in a collaborative way. So I think that would be the one area that overall is the big challenge that we face.
There's no doubt we've got to get the sector better aligned with the trainers. But that's to deal with what we're sort of supplying in terms of skills. I'd just really like to highlight here the demand side. We've got to reframe manufacturing for a 21st century. We've got to make this manufacturing seem appealing so that people want to come in and get trained to do this stuff. So, I'm really excited about the prospects of manufacturing. I truly am. But we have to work across as businesses and business representatives with government to make manufacturing appealing to people as a profession.
So one thing for government, I think it's really to let industry lead and cooperate and focus their attention on facilitating and supporting that occurring, as Ines has said as well. I think for us, sort of a message to industry, I think the priority needs to be, certainly for the organisations on this call, to we should record and document our consensus here and quickly communicate it to government in one voice, because I think there's an opportunity here to mobilise ourselves.
So the one thing I think, in addition to the industry driving stuff, is you've got to get micro-credentialing sorted. We've got to stop talking about it and work out how to do it, and work out how to do it in a way that doesn't create inequality. We can't have the least well-off people getting a few micro-credentials and not having a portable qualification, and everyone else still having a degree and a diploma. So that would be one thing that I think we've got to get right. But a broader point, just to finish on, is, to me, we've got to make manufacturing not just part of COVID recovery, but what kind of country we want to be for the next decade and beyond. And do we want to be a country that in 30 years' time we say, well, we've still got some really good banks and we've got terrific miners and all that's fantastic, but that's kind of pretty much, and a big services sector. And we have to say, what will our society be like if that's kind of where it ends up? And so, or do we want to be a society which is driven off a more dynamic economy? Because that will be a very different society, and that will be a high wage society. That will be, I think, a fairer society. So I think we've got to stop the kind of manufacturing discussion being somehow tangential to the fundamental discussion about the kind of society we want to be.